Well, hello there and welcome to the candy wallpapered upstairs hallway of the dollhouse for another reading from The Secret Language of Birthdays by Gary Goldschneider and Joost Elvers for December 24th, the day of complex emotions. That's right. And here at the top of the page is a visual representation of the day of complex emotions. Well, we have us. What is it? Boom, it's some old-timey keys. One's a blank and the other's got some cut to it. And the other one, one is white and the other is black. Or, I don't know, bronze and, hardened steel. Who's to say? Black and white, if you like. That being said, is that an adequate representation of the day of complex emotions? Hey, who's to say? It's a nice juxtaposition or a dichotomy that's juxtaposed against one another, if anything. That being said, not altogether all too important, the visual representational image there. Maybe when we get on with the read, we'll make some kind of correlation as to why they chose that. But like I said, not altogether all too important. But what is important is it's someone's birthday today. That's right. So if it's December 24th and it's your birthday today, I just want to say happy birthday. That's what's important. That being said, this video may find you late. It's, days, weeks, months, whatever the case may be. But if it does, I just want to say I hope you had a happy birthday. That said, other people do join us randomly or more ideally to celebrate the December 24th birthday. And if that's the case, I just want to say hello, welcome, and I hope you enjoy yourself. Now, before I dive in with the redirect, something I like to do around these here parts, this is the DykASSt birthday broadcast, so I like to roll some dice. That's right. But I do so more importantly for synchronicity's sake. That's right. And here I rolled us. Oh, it's the logo. That's right. A 1 and a 4 for a 5. We had this the other day. Now, what is synchronicity? You're probably wondering. Well, my friends, a lot of times we get out there in life going after the job or the errands that we've got in mind, and we got the blinders on. That's right. We're very singular of focus. And so I've often heard it told that the universe or the powers that be will put things down in our path to help us realize our goals or aspirations. But if we're never a focus, got the blinders on, hey, we may not see those things. We might pass them right by. That being said, the universe has been told to me that they'll put those things right back in your place. But the same thing's bound to happen if we don't get those blinders off. So we need ourselves an exercise to help us identify such things. And what's this? Boom, that's right. A sign, if you like, something that we can't mistake, even if we tried. Or then again, maybe we can mistake it. But that being said, that's the idea here. Coming up with a sign between us and the universe, your daily numbers. Now, you don't have to go with the numbers I rolled for you, but it is ideal that you take a pair of dice so you can ascribe directional values to number sets as well as time limits with which to go in those directions. But that said, once you've got all that established, you figure out a place to set off from. I don't know, maybe the town square, if you like. You get on out there, find your direction, your time limit, head off, all right? And maybe, here's the thing, though. Take those blinders off. You want to start soaking things up like a sponge, okay? Because you never know. The day might start to take on a theme. You might start to see a lot of the same things popping up. I don't want to influence it for you at all because, people say, oh, look at the Mazda Miata. And then you start seeing them everywhere, right? Even though they were there all along. So that said, take in everything like a sponge. That said, maybe you start to see things pop up just like the Miata there. Maybe you start, seeing keys in certain places. Maybe on as advertisements on the sides of bus benches there, or maybe on a bus itself. I don't know. You never know. But that said, maybe you get to the end of your first time limit. You're not seeing anything just yet. Well, take into account street signs. Maybe you find yourself on old 5th Street there. Hey, I would take that as a sign that you're on the right path. Maybe a car pulls up and it's just got the words 5 on the back of the license plate. Hey, I would take that as a sign too. But they pass you right by, right? So what do? Roll yourself your time limit there and go in the direction that car's going. Who's to say? Maybe by the time that time limit's up, you find yourself in front of a building with, a 40 or a 14 in the address there. For me, it was flipped around. A 41 in this case. Hey, what's this? You see with this building? What do they got in there? Hey, what's this? Maybe it happens to be a locksmith. That's right. Hey, the keys are popping up all over the place. You never know. So go on in there, see what you see. I know you're probably not in the market to get some locks undone or some new keys made. That's not the point. You're going in there to see what the universe had in store for you. Maybe you step on in there, and what's this? Oh, my Lord, it might just be a friend from college is getting some keys cut. Who's to say? Maybe even there's nobody there. I don't know. But maybe the guy behind the counter is like, hey, what can I do for you today? And you say, you know what? I'm just here on account of synchronicity. And they go, come again? You don't need any keys cut? And you're like, no, sir. You know what? The universe just pushed me in the direction of your establishment here. And they go, well, I can't really help you with anything else other than keys. And you're like, yeah, I didn't think so. They go, what's the synchronicity thing you mentioned? So maybe you show them this video, show them the dice. And they go, you know what, that's crazy. And you go, I know, right? And they go, no, not that. He goes, it's my birthday too. Could very well be. And then maybe your friend from college is like, you're doing what? Yeah, I got nothing else planned today. My keys are done. Let's get out there, see what else we see. And maybe the locksmith guy's like, well, wait a second here, folks. I want to join you. It's my birthday too, remember? That's right. So you know what's good about this is the more people that get together, the stronger the manifestation. That's right. You might just be apt to see even more things present themselves. Coincidence, I'm sure a lot of you are saying, but hey, let's lean into it. Let's stack up some coincidences, all right? See what we can come up with. Because if you get out there and you see, taste, touch, smell, maybe even hear a little bit of the magic, considering the sound that key grinding makes, I think you're apt to agree that this was an awesome experience. But you know what? Even if nothing like that happens, at least you're getting your steps in, all right? That being said, I think you get the idea of synchronicity. Let's get on with the birthday read. All right, your month is December. Your day is the 24th. Your sign is 1 to 3 degrees Capricorn of the Sagittarius Capricorn Cusp. And your quality and element is a cardinal earth. All right, December 24th, the day of complex emotions. Those born on December 24 cannot expect to have an easy life. Their joys, sorrows, rewards, and disappointments are generally of a greater order of magnitude than those around them, who indeed may think that those born on this day put themselves through unnecessary stress and tribulations. From the point of view of emotions, particularly true of December 24 women, it says in parentheticals, their involved, demanding, and difficult interpersonal relationships can contribute an environment of uncertainty to their already complex lives. Though things rarely go easy for December 24 people, they somehow manage to keep their heads above water and even accomplish great things. They are usually excellent at giving structure to their lives, for example, in terms of order and neatness, it says in parentheticals. What career problems they have are usually related to their emotional nature, which can create difficulties with their superiors and colleagues. They are able to get along with people and even win their respect, but nonetheless seem to arouse hidden animosities and encounter powerful enemies. What other people may dislike about them is their very forward way of critiquing a given situation or product, which at times can lack diplomacy and tact. The key to those born on this day improving themselves lies in recognizing certain patterns in their lives, studying them and resolving not to repeat those actions that didn't work. Thus, they will be able to better their fortunes and avoid landing themselves in a mess which they naturally hate. December 24 people often have psychic or intuitive abilities, and part of their problem is that they may see and already react to things which have not even occurred to others. Because of this, they must learn to cultivate patience and not get so quickly turned off and irritated. They have magnetic qualities that attract others to them, often sexually, it says in parentheticals, but those who are drawn to them are not always the right people in long-term constructive senses. Consequently, December 24 people may later have trouble breaking off attachments with those they have mistakenly encouraged at the outset. But not infrequently, there is a technical, specialized area in which December 24 people excel. If they can keep their nose to the grindstone, deal with the anxieties and depressions to which they are prone, not allow their emotional lives to intrude too much on their work, and above all, maintain faith in themselves and their aspirations, they will be highly successful in their field. On the other hand, if they cannot maintain their objectivity and self-confidence, they can flounder, sometimes for years. And without building a wall around themselves, which can happen, it says in parentheticals, they must guard their independence and at the same time discharge their responsibilities. December 24 people must learn how to deal with negative energy and upsetting circumstances. And if they cannot cultivate a more optimistic outlook on life, they may bring unhappiness on themselves, simply by expecting it. On the other hand, if they remain realistic but open to life's possibilities, giving and taking in an easy fashion, they can ease difficulties and make life more pleasurable. All right, how about that for a birthday breakdown? One of the longer ones for sure. Almost took up the whole page, which isn't common. That being said, I'd like to provide a little bit of a commentary, if you like. See what kinds of things might connect with previous days or just things I've read previously. So let's dive into it, all right? December 24th, the day of complex emotions. You cannot expect an easy life, they said, all right? And what a way to lean into the read, right? They're ripping the bandage right off, right? Scab along with it, too. But the reading claims your joys, sorrows, and rewards, and disappointments may present in your life with greater intensity than other people may actually lend credence to. But hey, at least it's also said that your joys and rewards come with greater intensity also, all right? Which is kind of a nice solve to put on that freshly torn away scab, right? Assuming the bleeding stopped by now. That said, other folks in your life may not be so convinced of this thing that you think is a reality. That just struggles are so difficult, right? They may think you're doing it to yourself, especially if you have a complex lifestyle. All of which, to some extent, seems to be a common theme with Sagittarius traits there. And while you may be the first day of the Capricorn period, there's still a little bit of carryover considering the Capricorn-Sagittarius cusp there. It's what else? But I'm kind of getting ahead of myself with that. So back to the breakdown here. The reading claims, despite all this, you still manage to come out on the other side and accomplish great things. But emotions are said to run high and affect relationships, both in your professional and personal life. But organization, diplomacy, and self-analysis are claimed to be keys in breaking problematic patterns. All right. The reading furthers you have an intuitive ability that may lead to impatience with others. Also a magnetic attraction, which may draw in people who aren't a benefit to your life ultimately. But objectivity in your life in those regards as well will help you persevere in not just your chosen fields of endeavor, but your overall personal well-being as well. That's right. So lend some credence to objectivity. Put those emotions in the back seat once in a while. No, it's hard, but you know what? You only stand to benefit, I would argue. It's like I said, I'm apt to agree. It's a great way to move forward. But I also like these warnings of walling yourself off and not bringing unhappiness on yourself just by expecting it. It's an all too real reality, I would say. And that's from personal experience. So it would seem manifestation may factor into your life as well. In no small extent, too, if the breakdown applies there. So maintaining optimism is a great suggestion in the face of that. I would say if you manifest a lot of things, especially the negatives, that's right, try out the optimism for a change. See what manifests. That said, kind of a narrowly focused breakdown today. They kind of drilled down on a couple things and then just expanded out from those. They didn't really get into your childhood or your family life or work life so much, but that's all right. I think they provided a little bit of value there with the things that they decided to focus upon. That being said, that's been your breakdown and what I had to say about it. So let's move on to your numbers and your planets. That's right. I started to bring myself into it with the breakdown there, but I have to save it for this one here. Those born on the 24th day of the month are ruled by the number 6, as 2 plus 4 equals 6, and by the planet Venus. Because those ruled by the number 6 are magnetic in attracting love and admiration, and since Venus is strongly connected with social interaction, it would be a strong temptation for December 24 people to give themselves over to the easy pursuits of pleasure, were it not for the somber influence of the planet Saturn, the ruler of Capricorn. A Venus-Saturn connection can make for difficulties in interpersonal relationships, and often love becomes the dominant theme in the lives of those ruled by the number 6. All right, pretty highly personalized numbers and planets entry here. I think they kind of have to do that because of this cusp rulership. But no mention of Jupiter to be had there, which is the co-ruler with Saturn. That being said, I think I'm getting ahead of myself, so let's dive into the notes again here, shall we? The number 6 in Venus for magnetic forces in attracting love and admiration and a strong connection with social interaction. For better or worse in some cases, it sounded like. Very interesting and personalized entry, owing mostly to the cusp influence, like I said, or so it would seem. Jupiter, the expansive, optimistic, jovial planet, still having a little bit of influence, even though it's the latter days of the cusp here. But the constrictive planet Saturn, which is in direct conflict with Jupiter, causing no uncertain amount of issues and frustrations with past folks here. And also with Venus, it would seem. Here is Saturn kind of doing some backseat driving. And if not backseat driving, at the very least, kicking the back of the seat, right? And to add upset to interpersonal relationships, it would seem. To that end, I would just say, just don't neglect Jupiter, the expansive planet, or it imparts luck. It's said to have a nice, big, jovial aspect to it, expansive and philosophical view. It's just that it seems like maybe Jupiter's kind of tied up in the trunk there. So let's just, be mindful of as much. It's still there, just, not really present. That being said, that's what I'd say about your numbers and your planets. So let's move on to your tarot. That's right. One of the more eclectic of the New Age metaphysical ideologies, but hey, it's here in the book. We don't have to take it home with us. We'll start dealing out the cards to inspire every whim and flight of fancy or predict our future, however tarot cards are used. So let's just see what it has to say, make some connections perhaps, and then move on. That's right, your tarot. Emphasizing the last points is the fact that the 6th card of the major arcana of the tarot here is the Lovers. That's right. And in the case of December 24 people, this love theme may be written in a minor key, producing major disappointments. And on the good side, the Lovers indicates affections and desires of a high moral and aesthetic, as well as physical caliber. On the bad side, it suggests unhealthy seduction, unfulfilled desires, and sentimentality, as well as indecisiveness. All right. Very sparse tarot entry today. However, they did personalize it for you quite a bit. I think it might be one of the first times they've done as much with the Lovers card, and it comes up quite often. So it's probably not the first time, that being said, statistically speaking, but it's the first one I can remember in quite a while. To that end, let's dive back into the notes, shall we? The Lovers card for positive indications of affections and desires of a high moral and aesthetic on what they normally ascribe to the physical plane. But here they wrote physical caliber. So whereas I was certainly confused about the way they normally write it, I'm ultimately at a loss for what they mean by physical caliber, even though I did a little bit of looking it up, and it always just brought up the idea of the size of bullets. So can't tell you what that means. But that said, they personalize this entry for you further by relating a musical analogy, all right? Claiming the theme in your life, or of love, if you like, may have a minor key kind of overtone to it. For more Band-Aid ripping disappointments, right? Further negatives of unhealthy seduction and unfulfilled desires and sentimentality and indecisiveness. So as concise as it is, I'd say it's a rather apt card for you, considering what was conveyed in the breakdown. assuming any and all of that applies, right? Nonetheless, I would say break old jovial Jupiter out of the trunk there, all right? Let him take the wheel there. Put some optimism into your life. And you know what? Even with those disappointments, if we keep our chin up, so to speak, as much as we don't like to hear it and as hard as it is, it's only going to benefit us to some extent, right? Or you can just lay in bed and be down in the dumps about it. I don't know which one I would pick, right? That's right. Okay, that's been your tarot, so let's move on to your health. All right, your health. Those born on December 24 must be particularly careful of attracting the wrong kind of energy. Once again, right? In this respect, they can be highly self-destructive. Psychologically, their labile emotions can lead to anxiety, depression, and excitable tendencies. Developing their self-confidence and not falling prey to negative energy and unconstructive criticism is important. Often therapy and or counseling is helpful, but those born on this day should be aware of getting hooked on medications which regulate their moods. Vigorous physical exercise and a positive attitude toward diet can be invaluable in maintaining stability. Dancing is highly recommended, particularly in a social context. Rather than restricting their diet, most December 24 people should widen their culinary range by trying many different types of foods. All right, there's been your health. Once again, let's dive into the notes. All right, must be careful of attracting the wrong kinds of energy and letting it lead to self-destructive tendencies. This kind of sounds like stuff we already knew, right? And just kind of drilling back down on it. And I would say if they're bringing it up in the health, that's because it might be something you should take note of, all right? Or something that applies to you specifically. Psychologically speaking, easily changeable or labile, that's what that means, or labile rather, changeable emotions should be avoided, as mentioned by a variety of methods in the breakdown there. But avoiding getting hooked on mood-altering medications, well, that's of interest, I would say, because it's not mentioned at all from what I can recall. It might be a first, so take note there. Don't get hooked on those things. Use them in, moderation if you can. Say vigorous exercise, ostensibly to get your mind off things and burn energy with an emphasis on social activities, like they said, is recommended. But no real diet to really be mentioned outside of widening out that palette there. Getting some variety in your life there. A lot of times they drill down on the exact foods you should avoid and incorporate into your diet. But they didn't do that here. They also made mention of the psychological side. A lot of times if they bring that up, which they don't always do, the diet kind of gets ditched or thrown in the trunk, if you like. So I would say if they brought up the psychological aspect, don't throw that in the trash, all right? Give it some credence. Not to say you got to go get counseling or therapy, but hey, find somebody who you can lean on and who doesn't mind hearing you complain about the same things over and over again. A lot of times we got to say it just all those times before we finally figure out what it is that might help us get over it. Sometimes it's just hearing it in that 37th time, you're like, oh, you know what? I never thought of the thing that might help me solve it. Who's to say? That being said, that's been your health, so let's move on to some advice. Oh, I think we got a lot of that today, but what else do they have to say? Oftentimes it's pretty valuable. Don't repeat your mistakes, all right? Learn from hurtful experiences. You are not a football. Believe in yourself and demand recognition for your talents and accomplishments. And be careful around drugs of all types. All right, what I have to say about the advice here. Pretty good, I would think, even if they kind of mentioned a lot of that already. That being said, I had to write it in the book here, so bear with me. My handwriting's kind of tiny here. Don't repeat mistakes and learn from hurtful experiences. All right, maybe even learn from other people's experiences and mistakes as well, especially if you're subject to complex emotions. Experience is great, right? But be objective about it, right? Those who may not want to actually learn firsthand the things that other people have experienced. So just see what works and what doesn't for other folks so you don't have to go through it. That's right. It's like seeing people take heroin on television. I know I don't need to do it now that I've seen the effects, even if it's completely fictional, right? I don't know if that's the best example, but I think you get the point. All right. Don't be a football, okay? Be the quarterback or the wide receiver, okay? Be the subject doing the action and not the object being acted upon. That's right. I like that one there. Care around drugs, they said, all right? I say escapism definitely has its place, but maybe not extreme escapism, all right? Life's already hard enough. And that's for folks who don't have it baked in, right? Especially if that breakdown applies, like they said. That said, maybe stock up on Band-Aids. That's right. In any event, that's been your advice. So let's move on to your meditation. That's right. We got a meditation here for you. Pardon the camera switches. I had to get back on track. I got all out of order. Your meditation. Does the dog wag the tail, or does the tail wag the dog? All right. Don't really know what to make of that one for you, but hey, let's do it one more time here. Does the dog wag the tail, or does the tail wag the dog? All right. There's your meditation, your birthday. I'm not going to throw my spin on it or some interpretation of mine to help influence what you should be taking from it. It's your birthday, your meditation. That said, I don't have one, so that wouldn't help anyway. That being said, that's your meditation. So let's move on to your strengths and your weaknesses. That's right. Let's see where you've got the muscle mass there and where you're atrophied, if you like. Your strengths and your weaknesses. Your strengths, you're a visionary, you're capable, and you're organized. All right. But your weaknesses. Oh, let's hold up that objective mirror we were talking about there. Though I might not have mentioned the mirror, but flip it to the side that blows up your face. That's right. Shows off all the pock marks you might have from picking your chicken pox scabs there as a child. The things that followed you through, even though your mom and dad told you not to do it, but you had to experience it firsthand. That's right. We learned about that, didn't we? Your strengths, or no, your weaknesses. That's right. All right. Your weaknesses. You're distracted. You're self-hurtful. All right. And you're confused. Okay. Geez. I think these ones are some of the more down in the dumps ones I've read. That being said, you're a visionary, you're capable, and you're organized. I would argue that you can get over those weaknesses with your strengths, all right? And sometimes, though I might not have a case to be said here for these particular weaknesses, I'd say your weaknesses are sometimes a strength. Now, again, I don't know if that happens to be the case here with distracted, self-hurtful, or confused, but I say don't get rid of them lock, stock oftentimes because they make us who they are. Here, though, I might not have a case for that particular argument. That being said, I also like to say your strengths are going to help you get over those weaknesses if and you apply them. All right, once again, you're visionary, capable, and organized. You're going to figure out a way to do it. You're capable of implementing it, and you're going to be doing so in an organized fashion. That's right. So get over being distracted, definitely self-hurtful, and confused. That happens. That's not the worst weakness in the world. That being said, those have been your strengths and weaknesses. So let's move on to those born on this day. And when we get into those born on this day, not only do we get to see who shares your company, but something I like to do is bring up the idea of figuring out our passions. That's right, because too often in life I get out there and meet folks and ask them what they do. More importantly, if they like it, and they don't. And you know what? I think it's perfectly understandable. Get out of school, right into a job that you don't necessarily have any kind of, interest in. But you know what? Puts money on the table, right? Kind of need that to get on. But sometimes we get stuck in that and we just start climbing the corporate ladder because it's easy. We know how to do it. And you know what? Our passions or our interests, our purpose in life kind of goes by the wayside. That's right. And I think it's important that we figure that out. So we're jumping out of bed in the morning, maybe even doing backflips, figurative or literal, to get into our day, to do something that we find fulfillment from. Because it's huge to be eager to get on with your day, right? So I think this is the perfect opportunity, not only to see who shares your birthday, but to see what they did to get in the book. Maybe we can take some inspiration from as much to start putting in the work to figure out our passions. Because it takes time and dedication a lot of times to just figure out what we even like, let alone what our passions are. So I know it's a big ass tall order, but hey, maybe me just putting the bug in your ear about it is going to help do that. Hearing it 37 times, remember? All right, so let's dive in, shall we? We have Michel de Nostradamus, the provincial Jewish prophet, physician, astrologer, and made major predictions for the future that have proven true. We also have St. Ignatius Loyola, Spanish founder of the Jesuit order and leader of Counter-Reformation. We also have Tycho Brahe, Brahe, not quite sure how to say that one, Danish 16th century astronomer and instituted systematic and accurate astronomical observations. All right, it's written real small there, narrow anyhow. Kit Carson, frontiersman, a U.S. Army general, a scout, a trapper, and a rancher. I'm sure that gentleman knew some hardship for sure. We also have Leadbelly, the blues singer and a convicted murderer, pardoned after singing blues for Texas governor. Interesting, I didn't know that. We also have Robert Joffrey, New York choreographer and a ballet company founder. We also have Howard R. Hughes, an industrialist, aviator, film producer, and a billionaire recluse. One of my personal heroes, not necessarily because of the craziness aspect, but the things that gentleman got accomplished. I read his biography, and oh my lord, the craziness that he cooked up just to make sure that he was successful, pretty interesting. So you're in good company there. In certain terms, that's right. We also have Ava Gardner, the film actress, Jan Ramon Jimenez, a Spanish Nobel Prize winning poet of Platero and I. We also have Cab Calloway, an entertainer, a singer, musician, and a band leader. We also have Michael Curtis with a Z, director of over 150 feature films, including Yankee Doodle Dandy and Casablanca. We have Woody Shaw, a jazz trumpeter, Baby Dodds, leading New Orleans-style jazz drummer. We also have Emmanuel Lasker, German-born world champion chess grandmaster and 28-year reign, it says. Matthew Arnold, British poet, writer, critic of culture and anarchy. We also have I.F. Stone, a journalist and a writer. Pierre Solages, one word though, a French abstract expressionist painter. Macario Kegel, Argentinian avant-garde composer. We also have John of Lackland, British king, and he signed the Magna Carta. Empress Elizabeth, an Austro-Hungarian 19th century ruler, and it says stabbed to death by an anarchist. Oh, that sucks. Jeez. But that stuff happens, all right? Oh, all right. Anyway, let's pick back up the energy, all right? That's been those born on this day. What do we have here? We had, just ran the gamut of individuals. Oh, and I messed up a lot of names. I got distracted with that murder there. I hate to hear those things. But I messed up the names, butchered them if you like, so let's do some butchering on my side. Not done in malice, it's just hooked on phonics. Doesn't always work for me. That's right. Any event, that being said, I know it's a big-ass tall order to take inspiration from other people's lives, the things they accomplished. But hey, it can be done, all right? Take Howard Hughes, for example. I learned there's a lot of things you can do on the back end to figure things out for yourself. That's right. That being said, hey, like I said, maybe just putting the bug in your ear about it, help you stir up the fires and get going. Because if there's anything I can wish for you on your birthday, it's that you're on your way to figuring out your passions, or if you've figured them out already, that you're trying to figure out how to make them financially viable. That's right. And if you have all that figured out, well then, maybe it's just interesting to see who shares your birthday. That's right. That being said, that essentially rounds out your birthday read. Except to say, Your season is winter. Your sign is Capricorn of the Sagittarius Capricorn cusp. And your quality and element is Cardinal Earth. Now, what does that mean? Well, that's a different video and subject altogether. I'll leave a video at the end of it if you're interested in finding out more and seeing what the channel looked like in its early days. But that being said, this has been December 24th, the day of complex emotions. For sure, I would say. Of The Secret Language of Birthdays by Gary Goldschneider and used Elfers. I have the affiliate link for this book down in the description if you're interested in diving in further for yourself there. Getting through it quicker than I did for you. Save you the hassle, have to type it in a browser there. Support the channel in the bargain, which I appreciate. That being said, this thing makes an excellent coffee table book if you're going to have some company over. And it's going to get the conversation started for better or for worse. As you saw, your day was one of the more negative for sure, but that happens sometimes, all right? That being said, the book hadn't been conveyed. Not altogether all too important there. What is important, like I said at the top, wishing you a happy birthday. So once again, happy birthday. And for everybody else who joined us randomly or to celebrate, hey, I hope you enjoyed yourselves, and we see you for your birthday read. But that being said, lest I forget, once again, your daily numbers. That's right. Get out there, see, taste, touch, smell, hear, all the senses. And maybe see a little bit of that magic there. That's why I said that all wrong, got off copy. Get out there and intuit the magic. And if you do, I think you understand why I brought it up. That's right. Once again, hey, happy birthday and take care of yourselves, all right? For sure. Be objective, all right? You got this. Get those complex emotions under control. And let Jupiter out of the trunk, all right? And what was the other thing? Oh, yeah. Stock up on them Band-Aids. That's right. Take care.